What's up, college football fans? Don't forget to check out and order your copy of Stiff Arming Football Myths, our latest football game plan book. So go on our website at footballgameplan.com/books and get your copy. We have these available in paperback as well as in PDF form.
Big matchup in the Coastal Division in the ACC as Virginia travels to Duke to take on the Blue Devils, and both squads are playing some good football right now. For Virginia, it's always been about their defense, but now it looks as if quarterback Grayson Lambert and that offense is finally starting to come around. The Cavaliers' offensive line is one of the best in the ACC, and they're facing a Blue Devil defense led by Mike linebacker David Helton that plays with great discipline, and they also excel in third down defense. Now, Duke is also one of your better open field tackling teams in the conference, and the biggest X factor in this game will be both teams' ability to move the football in the air. And with the way Virginia can press on the outside, I have to give them the upper hand. Plus, the Blue Devils will have a hard time slowing down Kevin Parks in that ground game. I like Virginia. In the American Conference, Temple takes on Houston, and for the Owls in this ballgame, the biggest matchup will be out on the corners. Junior cornerback Devon Young and company will be tested throughout the course of this ballgame by Cougars wide receiver Deontay Greenberry and a Houston passing attack. They're going to be asked to win a lot of one-on-one battles across the board. Offensively, quarterback P.J. Walker leads an efficient offense that has to sustain drives much better this week because it's going to be all about possessions versus Houston. And speaking of possessions, it's important that the Cougars offense realizes the value of them and begin to protect the football a lot better. The offensive line will be the biggest focus in this ball game. Center Bryce Redmond and that Cougar interior offensive line will have to keep Temple's Matt Ioannidis and Avery Robinson out of the face of quarterback John O'Corn. Defensively, if Houston is able to win on first down, it goes a long way in helping them win the game. And I think this will be a low-scoring affair. And in order for the Cougars to come away victorious, they're going to have to lean on running back Kenneth Farrow. I don't think that'll happen. I like Temple in this one. Pivotal matchup in the Big 12 as Oklahoma State travels to TCU, and for the Cowboys in this game, it's about tempo and forcing TCU to cover every blade of grass. They do a great job of that with spacing and formation. Now, it would be also in their best interest to find ways to get Tyreek Hill more involved in the offense. He's what you call instant offense. Now, for the Horned Frogs in this game, their defense has been shredded the last 2 weeks by offenses similar to Oklahoma State, and what has to improve this week is the communication on the back end. Too many blown assignments in the secondary leads to big plays. Offensively, in my opinion, they're right where they need to be, and the challenge this week will be trying to run the football versus a very good defensive line in Oklahoma State. Now, what you'll see in this game is a lot of great play in the trenches on both sides of the ball. I don't think TCU will let one loss become two. They'll take care of business in a close one versus Oklahoma State. Moving to the Big Ten as Rutgers plays Ohio State, and the game plan is simple for the Scarlet Knights in this one. Quarterback Gary Nova has to continue playing excellent football, and their defense must be able to stop the run. Ohio State puts a lot of pressure on your run defense at the first and second levels because of their spread power game. On offense, Rutgers should have opportunities in the intermediate area in the passing game that they can exploit. Now, for Ohio State in this ball game, they're a well-balanced offensive attack, and this week versus Rutgers, quarterback J.T. Barrett will see a lot more blitzing than usual, so he and those receivers have to be alert to know when and who the hots are. Now, defensively, it's about reestablishing the line of scrimmage, and guys like defensive tackles Michael Bennett and Adolphus Washington will play huge roles in this ballgame, along with strong side backer Darren Lee. Now, I like Ohio State in this matchup. I think defensively, the Buckeyes will beat the Scarlet Knights to the punch in the running game and make them one-dimensional, and also look for quarterback J.T. Barrett to continue to make huge strides in the passing game. BYU takes on Nevada, and for the Cougars on offense, I feel as though they have to find ways to get tight end Devin Mahina more involved in the offense. It'll make them that much tougher to defend. I also like what I saw last week from quarterback Christian Stewart. He showed tremendous growth in his first start for BYU. Now, for Nevada in this game, defensively, it's about not getting reached in the running game, getting off blocks, and rallying to the football, all of which they're struggling to do so versus teams that run downhill. Now, the opportunities offensively will come on the outside with their receiving core versus BYU's secondary. The Wolfpack's offense has to get off the bus ready to go and make this game a track meet. Now, despite some injuries on both sides of the ball, I still like BYU in this ball game. Look for the Cougars' defensive line to be able to play great contained defense, forcing quarterback Cody Fajardo to consistently make plays from the pocket, taking away his threat as a runner. Texas San Antonio battles La Tech in a Conference USA matchup, and the Roadrunners were able to get back on the winning track last week versus FIU, and if they want to put together back-to-back wins, they'll have to stop the self-inflicted wounds and be able to sustain drives on offense. You can't put all of the blame on a defense that has been put in bad situations all season long, and it has to start with better play at the quarterback position. Now for Louisiana Tech, they're fresh off a victory versus UTEP, and when the Bulldogs can play with offensive balance, they're very tough to defeat. Now that Achilles heel for this football team has been their run defense as of late, and they'll get a healthy dose of both David Glasgow and Jarvion Williams in this ball game. Now I like Louisiana Tech in this matchup. Look for the Bulldogs to go aggressive in trying to stop the run, forcing UTSA to break tendencies and start throwing, which could result in a big day for Tech's free safety Xavier Woods to make a play or two on the football. Key battle in the Mid-American Conference between Akron and Ohio. The Zips are on a roll right now, winners of 3 straight games, and it's their ability to spread the field offensively and their red zone defense that has led to a 4-2 start this year. The Zips offensive line, led by right tackle Tommy Brown, are an athletic bunch that gets a lot of movement up front. Now for the Bobcats in this ball game, I think their opportunity will have to come from the running game. Running back A.J. Owlett should have success versus a Zips run defense that has been generous this season on the ground. Now what has to happen defensively is for their secondary to start converting on those opportunities to pick off passes. They're in position, they're just not making the play, and that can't happen this week versus Akron. Now the Bobcats will be game, but I think quarterback Kyle Pohl and that quartet of Zip wide receivers led by Zach DiOracio will have a lot of success this week. I like Akron in this ball game. Outside of Notre Dame and Florida State, Utah State, Colorado State game may be the best matchup of this week in college football. The Aggies come into this ball game with one of the best defenses in the country, especially in the back seven. They're athletic and they fly around the football consistently, and that's added to the fact that Utah State plays excellent run defense, only giving up 2.8 yards a carry and has 50 TFLs on the year. Even without quarterback Chucky Keaton, the offense hasn't missed a beat with Darryl Garrettson, who has actually been a much more effective passer than Keaton. Now, Colorado State has also enjoyed a very good season. It's been a complete team effort from the ground game with D. Hart, quarterback Garrett Grayson's passing, and their perimeter defense has been excellent all season long. Now, we're going to learn a lot from both teams, about both teams in this ball game, and I like Colorado State to win the matchup. Look for the Rams to bracket wide receiver Hunter Sharp and match up their outstanding cornerback Bernard Blake on the other wide receiver Ronald Butler, dictating where Garrison can go with the football. And on offense, look for the Rams to utilize both tight ends Stephen Walker and Nolan Peralta creatively in the running game to generate room for D. Hart to be able to have success. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, but I like the Rams to move on to 6-1 on the season. Big game in the Pac-12 between Utah and Oregon State, and the Utes defense has been the biggest story of the season. The way they can apply pressure both with their pass rush and on the flanks is very impressive. The big key for them defensively is an obvious one, with both Nate Orchard and Hunter Demick getting in the face of Beaver quarterback Sean Mannion. Now offensively, can the Utes continue to play mistake-free football as they open up the passing game a little bit more each game? Right now, quarterback Travis Wilson has been efficiently effective, but as the schedule starts to toughen up, he's going to have to make some big-time throws moving forward. Now, what I like most about the Oregon State football team is that they can play any type of game you want. Versus Utah, look for the Beavers' offensive line and both running backs Storm Woods and Teron Ward being a huge part in helping Oregon State calm the pressure of the Utes. Now, defensively, it's very tough to move the football versus the Beavers because of how gap disciplined they are up front and how they're able to match up in the secondary. Now, I think Oregon State will have the right game plan, but I also think Utah will be able to force Sean Mannion into some bad decisions. I like the Utes to go on the road and knock off the Beavers. The surprising Kentucky Wildcats travel to Baton Rouge to take on LSU, and for Kentucky in this ball game, while the play of sophomore quarterback Patrick Towles has been impressive, the key to this matchup will be the Wildcats' ground game and their ability to own the line of scrimmage. Now, if they're able to run the football, Towles will have the time and the coverage to hit big plays deep down the field. On the defensive side of the football, linebacker Alvin Dupree and company must make LSU one-dimensional, and that starts with slowing down red-hot freshman running back Leonard Fournette. The biggest matchup on the field will be between defensive ends Darius Smith and Lael Collins of LSU. That's an NFL battle right there, and I'm excited to see that matchup all game long. Now, for the Tigers in this ball game, I think it's time to take the fullback off the field and go 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 running back, and just have at it. LSU must be able to expand the Wildcats defense with formation and run inside with Fournette, who in my opinion should be getting the bulk of the workload from here on out. Defensively, in the secondary, LSU has to play much better man coverage, and they have to find ways to generate pressure without blitzing. This is a pivotal game in the SEC, and I like Kentucky to win this one. One of the most underrated defenses in the conference are owned by the Kentucky Wildcats, and I think they'll be able to keep LSU inconsistent enough to come away victorious. And finally, in the Sun Belt Conference, Louisiana travels to Texas State to take on the Bobcats. And coming off a bye, the Raging Cajuns are looking to get into a groove offensively. And the best way they can make that happen is by feeding the football to tailback Elijah McGuire. He is the breakaway element on this offense, and that'll allow struggling quarterback Terrence Broadway to better operate off play action. Defensively, a complete team effort will be needed as Texas State has one of the most well-balanced offenses in the conference. Now, for Texas State in this ball game, you have to be impressed with quarterback Tyler Jones and what he's been able to do as a dual-threat player, and he'll need his offensive line to keep him clean, especially with the Cajuns' defensive linemen Justin Hamilton and Christian Ringo coming to town. Now, defensively, it's about perimeter play versus the Cajuns. Can you keep everything tackle to tackle, which is why safety Aaron Shaw and cornerback Craig Mager will play huge roles in this ball game. Now, I like the Bobcats to win this matchup, and right now I just can't trust the Cajuns defense to be able to get off the field versus a Bobcat offense that puts so much pressure on your defense's ability to win individual matchups across the board. Texas State will be able to take care of business versus the Raging Cajuns and come away victorious. And also, don't forget to check out every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, College Football Now on our Football Game Plan Radio Network located at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.